What's up, everyone? You are tuned in to the channel Eps episode 142. I am your host, EEPMON, because there is none other. So, today, by request, I will talk about Bitcoin. And for those who don't know the history of Bitcoin, I recommend that you look it up, Google it, because I'm not here to give you a history lesson. I'm just going to talk about candidly my thoughts and opinions of where it is going, and it's going to be going pretty good. As of recording, folks, it is history in the making. We have breached the 80,000 USD. Right now we're at 80,339. Now it fluctuates because Bitcoin is always open. It's always like, even when the market's closed, it's still going. And that is, incredible. But I am not surprised at the same time. But just to see it happening before my eyes, I myself and others who are in the space are celebrating. Now, for those who are not familiar with it, again, look it up. But I'll tell you right now, as far as investing is concerned, it is the hardest asset ever humanity has ever known in its entire existence. In its entire existence, there can only be 21 million Bitcoin. Only. Algorithmically, I said it right this time, can only ever be 21 million. No more, no less. And additionally, it has no counterparty risks, right? What do I mean by that? That means it cannot be manipulated by any entity, whether it could be government, central banks, institutions, etc. Bitcoin is the people's money. The price is governed by the power of the people, truly. Okay? And that is a very powerful thing. And I recommend that you look that up as well. So what I mean by power of the people, aka it is decentralized. Decentralized, right? And therefore, unlike any other asset, this is really unique because, for example, for those who own shares or stocks or options, right? Usually it's from a company, right? Whether it could be Amazon, it could be Apple, it could be Microsoft, etc. You know that you are investing in that company in hopes that those shares will go higher or lower if they underperform. You are completely dependent on the company's governance if they perform well. That's why they have these quarterly results. So you keep a tabs on their performance. Right? The beauty about Bitcoin is that it does not have any at all board of directors. Again, like traditional governance, like that has nothing. It is not governed by anything. Therefore, it has zero counterparty risk. Okay. And for those who don't know, why was Bitcoin created? Bitcoin is about 15 years old. I think it was created in 2009. Yeah, I think it's 2009, not 2008. But it was created as a response to the 2008 financial crisis. Financial crisis, okay? It was created as a response because of the corruption that was happening, the house of cards that was happening, the scams, the Ponzi schemes on Wall Street and elsewhere. I want you to look that up too, in understanding why that is. So 15 years in its existence, it has been primarily front-run by retailers like people like you and I, just normal people who got into the space before institutions started to increasingly get in, which is right now, currently. And this is very unprecedented as well, because usually for any sort of asset, whether it's gold, whether it's like, companies, stocks, bonds, blah, 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 are always managed by the institutions first. So the institutions get the benefits of being the first to get in, right? Because they're the ones who were creating it. But Bitcoin was created by people for the people. And for the first 15 years, we have been front running this asset class before the big boys and companies coming in. But that's about to change, folks, because if you are keeping a close eye on what's happening in the world affairs, asset management companies are now in the game, and I can guarantee that the governments of the world, especially now the United States, want a piece of that action of Bitcoin. Now, for those who don't know, have you heard of the company BlackRock? If you do not know, I highly recommend you look them up, okay, folks? BlackRock is an American multinational investment company, okay, and the world's largest, commanding a portfolio of over $11.5 trillion. Think about that. Let that sink in. In fact, I bet you where you live, what device you use, whether mobile phone, whatever you have, I bet you BlackRock is in your home or in your wherever your habitat. They have a piece of everything, pretty much everything. Okay. So big boy BlackRock, they first quietly filed a spot Bitcoin ETF last year, June 2023. And when I found out, I knew game over. That this is it. There's no going back. Like, as far, people saying, oh, Bitcoin's fluctuating, it's going to go to zero, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's over. Like, there's not even a topic of discussion anymore. Okay. If BlackRock gets in, you can be assured that other asset management companies want a piece of that action. BlackRock filed an application to be approved to trade Bitcoin on an ETF platform back in June 2023, and they, through many, there are many revisions that went along the way, but finally the SEC approved not just BlackRock, but 11 other spot Bitcoin ETFs this year, January 2024. I think it was January 12th, if I'm not mistaken. But not just BlackRock, but as I anticipated, if BlackRock number one moves in, other asset management companies saying, hey, I want a piece of that action too. I just don't want BlackRock to take everything. We want to make money. They all want to make money, right? They all want to make money. So we want to be part of the action. So 11 spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved. Now, what are ETFs? For those who don't know what ETFs are, and I understand because probably my audience are not really into the world of investing, but an ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund, and is essentially a basket of investments of stocks, like stocks and bonds, okay? So, for example, there are, instead of investing in individual stocks like Meta or Amazon or Apple, these companies already done their due diligence to providing you a basket of these different companies. If you want, there's a basket for just purely technologies. There's a basket for just, I don't know, precious metals, for example. Why is my fan going on? Hold on a second. Here we go. So for example, there's a ETF that perhaps has, some exposure to Microsoft, some exposure to Apple, Meta, the usual suspects, like the top performing uh, tech companies. So there's a percentage of exposure. So when you're buying an ETF, let's say you buy one of those ETFs, you have exposure across that board. So there is some level of added protection because perhaps, let's say hypothetically, one company does very bad, but then the other companies do very well. Well, you averaged out, and overall, you have some level of protection. So it takes a lot of the thinking work out of retailers, and that's why these institutions, like these asset management companies, are able to provide this sort of service. And of course, when you buy their ETF, there's a fee associated with them, with purchasing it through them, and that's how they make money. Okay, so they know that Bitcoin is here to stay, and they absolutely want to get their hands on that too, because they also see they're these asset management companies, right, folks? Like let's be realistic here. They're in it for the money. They're to make money. It's money, money, money. Um, and they identified that there's still a underlying gap between the general public getting exposed to this technology that is Bitcoin. Because for me, I mean, I'm a tech, I'm a digital artist, right? So I'm a tech type of person. So for me uh, to get into that space, there's a level of technicality, but not too difficult. But I understand that most people don't want to handle the nuisance and the hassle of like self custody, ownership, all these sort of things, right? You don't want to just you want someone that just that handle it for them, and I get it, and that's why ETF. That's why the Bitcoin spot Bitcoin ETF is there. Uh, so since its launch of the approval of the Bitcoin ETFs has been tremendously successful for these asset management companies. So much so that I believe BlackRock's ETFs for Bitcoin, even just within up to now, like it's less than a year since they've launched, right? It's like month 11 now, or November. The entire existence of the spot Bitcoin ETF has outperformed gold ETF, and gold ETF has been existing way longer than Bitcoin. Okay, it just within even half a year, I think it's even less than that. Their performance is like all time high. So there's clearly a signal, a signal that society demands it. They want it, and that's why institutions know this. That is also why the governments know this too. In fact, the U.S. government, and especially the president elect that's going to be inaugurated in January, has officially stated that they will want to have a percentage of the reserve of their sovereign wealth fund to have exposure to Bitcoin. Now, right now it's all said and done. It's all being verbally expressed, but we shall see. It is yet to be done, but we shall see as soon as President Trump, takes office, and we'll see whether that is the case. But as you can see from the markets, not just in crypto, but the stock market in general has been an upward trajectory. It's been crazy. But especially for Bitcoin, because if this is true, and I anticipate that 2025, there are multiple tailwinds that signal that we are still early and that there's incredible room for growth for Bitcoin. In fact, I think Bitcoin is the apex. It is the apex asset class of all assets. Okay, I like to think that Bitcoin is up here. Okay, and the rest of the assets, like if you own precious metals, like gold or whatever, silver, stock market, options, shares of Amazon, Microsoft, or whatever, okay? Oil and gas, natural resources, property, especially property, real estate. They are all on this lower tier level, and Bitcoin is the apex of them all. And in fact, as I bet you right now, like they are starting to eat. Bitcoin is starting to take away some of that market share from these different assets, and everyone is selling and buying Bitcoin because they know that in its entire existence, Bitcoin can only be 21 million, right? So when you know that's only 20 million in its entire existence, like look at gold. You can mine more gold, you can build more homes, you could print more money, right? Look at the inflation we have. You print more money, is diluting the market. So everything is like becoming more diluted, that the dollar, the strength of the dollar weakens. We need something, or society or the world needs something that can hedge against that. If not, um, not just hedge against, but be a true measure of the representation of the world currencies, and that is Bitcoin. That's why the prices keeps on going up, because if there's more money printed, if there's more gold being mined, that's always going to boost Bitcoin no matter what, right? So I think that in fact that Bitcoin people the gold bugs are realizing this, and they are now, I think, starting to sell their gold and actually invest into Bitcoin. I do believe that, and I believe that's going to increase. I know the property market too. Honestly, this just me. Do your own research. It's not financial advice, but I really believe that um, like precious metals and stocks and bonds and like real estate, it's over. It's game over for them. Like it's like people who are like, oh, I'm in the real estate business. I own all these properties. Blah blah blah. Man, you're a dinosaur. It's old. It's over. Like you like, what are you doing? Like it's first of all, it's funny. Like I'm gonna digress a little bit. Like I have a bit of a what is it like? I have a bit of an issue with the whole real estate market. Like, look, folks, real estate is a very we need to put like a roof over people's heads, right? We need shelter to live, right? But I just find it weird when you make that a business. Like really, it's something you want to live. You want to live comfortably. It's part of your home. It's part of your habitat, and by buying property and just making a business out of it, I just find it really like this doesn't sit well with me. It does not sit well with me. I think that's just like almost like unethical in a way, right? Okay, I can see you own a home or not here and there, but like if you're just in the business of just like renting and selling, and it's like the modern car salesman kind of thing. It's just so like not like third party salesman. Like it's just so sketchy to me. But anyway, I digress a bit. I just feel that the real estate market, the gold market, is done, and everything's gonna move to Bitcoin, and I think it should, because everybody can have exposure to it, right? And you don't need to buy one full Bitcoin, folks. You could just buy a fraction. You can just throw in $5 and you can get Bitcoin, right? The satoshis, like they're like this, like they're divisible, like pretty much almost infinitely divisible. Like you don't want to invest 1 penny, but like you want to put $5 in a coffee equivalent, $10. You could do it, no problem. And I just think that this is where it's all going. And all the signs are there. Governments are in, asset management companies are in, the The banks are going to get in there. Retail is always going to get in there. And all the other assets of the world are going to sell off and all go into Bitcoin. Because again, as I mentioned, there's only ever going to be 21 million. Ever. Think about it. You can't mine more Bitcoin after 21's gone. I think 90% of the Bitcoin is already out there. Over 91, I think over 91%. Or even higher than that, I think. And it won't be until year 2140, around that time, where all Bitcoin will be completely floating around. But another sign is that in the algorithm of Bitcoin, there is something called the halvening. And the halvening essentially means that the supply of Bitcoin cuts in half, and it happens every 4 years. And we just recently had our fourth halvening. And when that happens, if you look at the previous charts of the price movement, they say that it does not repeat, but it often rhymes. And lo and behold, if you study how Bitcoin operates, when the bull run is triggered, etc., it absolutely rhymes with higher highs and higher lows. Okay, there was a reason why it crashed in 20 at the peak around. Did it crash around 2022? When it peaked around 2021 for sure, but it started to drop significantly. It was supposed to happen, folks. The news media had no idea about all these things, right? But it happened because of the happening. It was expected. It was part of the pattern. And I can assure you that we are in a bull run right now because we just had the happening. We're in a bull run. And I anticipate, again, not financial advice, but I believe that the peak of this bull run will happen next year, 2025. Keep a good eye around June to early fall is when I believe that the peak of the bull run will be around that time. And then, like everything else, folks, there will be another crash. Of course, as they say, the term, nothing ever lasts forever, and what must go up must go down. It's part of the cycle. But what's interestingly is that every time there is a crash, it crashes at a higher low, right? And we're going to go through these cycles. There's going to be a fifth cycle, a fourth cycle, a sixth cycle, etc. And they say that by 2030, Bitcoin can range anywhere between, on the bearish side of things, I know it's a long range, but like between 250,000 US to the bull case, 1 million USD. 1 million Bitcoin. Can you believe that? $1 million USD for a Bitcoin. Back then, don't forget, folks, when Bitcoin was first out there, it was like less than a penny. Think about that. It was like 50 cents back in the day. And here we are, 80,000 USD. So, yeah, the signs are there. I recommend you to do a research, but I really feel that there are so many tailwinds that is going to really push the value of Bitcoin like crazy. Okay. So we'll see. I'm thinking that by around summer this coming summer, I'd like to have another conversation about this, but we're here at 80K, and I think by then it'll be definitely over 100,000 USD easily. Interesting times, folks. Interesting times. Well, I hope you liked this information. I hope I was articulate. You know, me speaking as a digital artist that's also, I'm still fairly new. I'm by no means an expert or, in this whole investment thing, but I'm learning, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. And again, this is not really about a history lesson. If you really want to do the history about Bitcoin, just look it up. There's lots of information about that. I'm not an expert, but I do know that if one does not have exposure to this world or does not understand how the money industry works, the money juggernaut works, I think it's very important that you do. You have to have some finance literacy. Okay. I don't have an education in finance or business or whatever. I'm an entrepreneur. I got to do my own. I got to do my own due diligence. So for those aspiring to be creative entrepreneurs as well, I also recommend that you should look into this and understand the mechanics behind our financial system. Anyway, please like and subscribe. Have a great evening. Have a great afternoon. Have a great morning wherever you are in the world. This is the Channel Eves episode 142. Speak to you all soon. Bye bye.